Have you ever pondered upon the fact that each and every year there is a gradual increase in health issues faced among Malaysians? Why is that so? I may have found a long-term solution towards ensuring that we move towards a healthier society. My name is Muhammad Rafiq Ahadi, and today I will be discussing on intermittent fasting. Before we get into the topic, I would like to start off by asking you a question. Do you know anyone, either your relatives, family members, or even your close friends, who experience health issues such as heart diseases, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol? These are just to name a few. Well, it is no secret that these health issues have become a common theme within Malaysian families, and it is worrying whether you realize it or not. Intermittent fasting might be the key towards moving ourselves and our families to becoming more and more healthier for the years to come. Revolving around intermittent fasting, I will be discussing three main points, that being the definition of it, the statistics of it, and the impact that it will have post-implementation. Let's look at the definition, shall we? What does it mean? Well, on the surface level, intermittent fasting means that you can enjoy your meal on a day-to-day basis as per usual, but with discipline. What do I mean by this? Well, I have created an equation to simplify the process of intermittent fasting, where intermittent fasting is equals to scheduling your eating window. Let's say hypothetically that you would have a 16 to 8 ratio of intermittent fasting. What does it mean? It means that you will be fasting for 16 hours a day and you will be eating or having your eating window for 8 hours a day. Let's put it in theory. Let's say you would have your eating window from 12 at noon until 8 o'clock in the evening, which is 8 hours of just eating whatever you like. But be mindful with what you take and ensure that you take plenty of your essential nutrients such as protein, carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits, and also obviously water. While the remainder of the time, which is from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. of the next day, during those 16 hours of fasting, you would be able to have only things that have 0 calories, that being plain water, black coffee, or tea. So, why should you starve yourself? That's a good question. Now, let's talk about the benefits, the why you should do it. So I would quickly go through the points here. You may read it as I present it to you. So firstly, we have promotes weight loss, regulates blood pressure, reduces cholesterol levels, no calorie counting necessary, which means that it is not such an extreme diet where you need to have every one of the fine details planned out. Boosts longevity, which means that you would have a longer lifespan in general. Removes waste materials from body cells and reduces risk of heart diseases. There are plenty of benefits stated on the screen right now as we speak. Now, obviously, where there's a yin, there's a yang. So where there's benefits, there will come disadvantages. But let me read them to you first. The 3 disadvantages that I have listed down are may lead to overeating, may reduce daily activity levels, and may cause malnutrition. Notice how I use the word may in the beginning of all the sentences of the disadvantages. I did that on purpose to demonstrate that the disadvantages that you will face are all controllable by you. First one, overeating. It's something that you would crave to eat after fasting for quite a number of hours. So it's something that you can control with a little bit of discipline. Daily activity levels, again, you can force yourself to do something, safely force yourself, that is, not to a degree where you could possibly be injured or get hurt. And malnutrition, again, as I covered a few moments ago, you should have your nutritional foods during your eating windows, that being your healthy foods, your carbohydrates, your rice, your proteins, your chickens, and fruits and vegetables, of course. Now that we have seen the benefits and the disadvantages of it, you have a rough idea on what's going on with this intermittent fasting scenario. But now let's look at the statistics so that you can further understand why it is crucial that you should start practicing this in your day-to-day life for a healthier lifestyle. So as you can see in the screen right here, we'll dive into 4 infographics that revolve around the need for intermittent fasting. Firstly, let's look at this infographic on Malaysians' preference toward different diets. Intermittent fasting is not a type of diet, it's just controlling your meals. So it won't be in this list of surveys, but let's just have a look. Most people would practice diets with less salt, less sugar, low fat, and there's a small minority of people that would go through what I would call extreme diets or highly specific diets such as vegan, keto, organic, and paleo. And there's also an amount of people who don't practice any diet at all. So intermittent fasting is just as flexible as you want it to be. Let's look at the obesity rates among ASEAN countries. So among the 10 ASEAN countries, Malaysia has the highest obesity rate with 15.6%. Now let's look at Malaysians weight-wise. This was reported, if I'm not mistaken, around 2020, which is several years ago, but it's still valid to be considered as a good representation. So to go through it roughly, 30% of Malaysians are overweight, almost 20% of them are obese, 54.7%, over half of them are women, and 60.9% of them are those aged 55 to 59, which typically would have a lesser physical activity schedule among their day-to-day lives. 39.8% of Malaysians who are children, 39.8% of children aged 5 to 17 are obese or overweight. More than a quarter of children who are supposed to be at their prime activity levels are overweight. Now you see how this is worrying, don't you? Now we have seen the bad, but what about the good? You know how to practice intermittent fasting, and you see what happens when people don't. Now let's look at what happens when people do. Have a look at this pie chart. 45.6% of people lost 1 to 3 kilograms of weight. This statistic or this chart was done based on about 200 people who were surveyed practicing intermittent fasting anywhere between 1 to 3 months, and these were the results. Almost half of them lost 1 to 3 kilograms, about more than a quarter of them, 33.3% of them, lost 3 to 5 kilograms, and there is even a small minority of them lost more than 15 kilograms. Intermittent fasting does wonders. Now let's look at the impact. I will go through 2 impacts of intermittent fasting that we can visually and physically see right now. First one being weight loss. On the screen right here is a picture of my own mother who has been practicing intermittent fasting for 2 years, and within the span of 2 years she has lost 40 kilograms. She started at 56 kilograms and went to she started at 96 kilograms and went to 56 kilograms in the matter of 2 years by doing mainly intermittent fasting and then with a touch of fitness activities such as working out, doing weights, but that's a topic for a different conversation. Next, I will go to spectacular physique. This man right here, he's an entrepreneur from USA named Justin Waller. He works in the construction industry, yet he finds the discipline to practice intermittent fasting, where he will only eat at night after his working hours are done. He eats plenty of protein, obviously, seeing from the body, which is why I say that intermittent fasting is one of the most flexible things or flexible improvements that you can make for your day-to-day life. You can choose your eating windows and you can choose whatever you want to eat as long as it makes sense and in terms of having enough nutritional components entering your body. That is all for my presentation. Let me leave you with this. Strive for a better tomorrow, start making better decisions for yourself and your family, and stay healthy.